What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I have something a little exciting to unbox today. Obviously, you could tell from the title, you could tell from the thumbnail. It's something pretty great. Now, I have mentioned in my last controller video where I was unboxing the SNES and the NES controllers that I wasn't too fond of buying the Nintendo 64 controller that Nintendo created because I really did not like back in the day playing with those like 3 handles. It was just so annoying. And on top of that, a lot of the games played, it was just hard to control. And I'm talking about, you know, something like Zelda Ocarina of Time or maybe even Mario 64. I know a lot of people have complaints about that. 2 things I'd like to point out. 1, I am wearing pimple patches on my face, so don't mind those, and I don't want to hear about them in the comments. And second of all, I did get a comment talking about how I do pronounce the word Mario instead of Mario. I've already explained that, I believe, in my Ambernick video. If you have not seen it, this is just me putting clarification to, again, I grew up with a cousin named Mario. That's predominantly how a lot of people say it. I know the character is Mario, but I'm not used to saying that. I will not stop saying Mario. It does not matter. So yeah, I mean, if you keep pointing that out, I'm not gonna care. So I'm just letting you know in the nicest way that like there's literally no point. Let's just talk games in the comments and not talk pronunciation. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into this unboxing. I'm very excited. This is basically my alternative to having that Nintendo controller that I don't like. I do have my original Nintendo 64 controller because I still have that system, but I just love this. So without further ado, it is the Brawler 64. This is beautiful. I got the blue translucent one because I never had a translucent Nintendo. I actually have the gray Nintendo, or how do you like to say it? Like, it looks black to me, but whatever. It's not translucent, it's just the regular Nintendo 64. And the cool thing about these is not only do they have the Bluetooth version, but they have the version that actually goes into your Nintendo if you still have the console or if you go pick that console up. So this is beautiful. I am living vicariously through this remote to pretend that I owned a translucent system. But it's definitely going to be fun, right? So that I can play SNES games, NES games with those other controllers, but I can also play any Nintendo games that I never got to play as a kid with this controller. And someone mentioned in the comments to me as well about this controller, ironically, right after I ordered it. So I'm very excited to open this up with you guys. So let's get it cracking. You get, please charge for a minimum of 2 hours. Wow. So you already kind of get instructions there to charge. I liked this one as well. That's a beautiful one, but my heart went with translucent, sorry. Then you get this little manual here. We have the charger. Of course, a charger, we're gonna need that. You know, the standard USB-C. And at last, oh my God, this looks beautiful. And it actually looks like the translucent Nintendo's, the Fun-tastic version. Wow. And it feels matte and good in the hands. Wow. Look at that. Look at this. Look at how pretty. Oh my goodness. And the cool part about this controller is it looks a little darker in person than what they sell it for. But it is beautiful. Wow. This is going to be amazing. This is literally what a Nintendo 64 controller should have been back then. Wow. The trigger is even so, like, I'm sorry if it's blurry a little bit, it's so smooth to use. Do you guys remember when these C buttons were like tiny on the actual controller? They were just like the tiniest little things, but they were more shinier. Now everything on this controller is matte, but I like this controller. It's just a nice grip in the hands. If you like a matte feel, you know, you got that. You got a D-pad as well, which is very important. Start button like it used to be. They do sell this in all white, but there's something about having the Nintendo 64 buttons just in all of the colors that they originally came in. And yeah, I have nothing bad to say. This is just beautiful all around. You know, just take a look at that real quick. And then you got your triggers up here, you know, obviously everything that you need. So yeah, you're gonna charge it in right up there if you like wired. But other than that, there's not much to say. You just kind of buy one of these. They have a lot of amazing colors. I definitely can see what they're trying to do with replicating Nintendo 64. But you know, that gray one that I showed you earlier is really nice. They have green. My second favorite of the Funtastics was the green one. or the jungle one, right? That was sponsoring Donkey Kong. So there's a lot of nice ones, but there's just, I always keep coming back to this blue one. And wow, 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 this is beautiful. So let's cut to the close-up. This thing is going to be my best buddy because I've never been able to experience Zelda Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask fully, and those are the two games I'm very excited to play. When I was younger, I played a lot of Pokemon Stadium, you know, Pokemon Snap, so I've just been more predominantly on the Pokemon, and as I got older, I was more into Zelda, so I really never got to enjoy those games. And when they added them to the Switch Online store, it was kind of, you know, you can't play it the same with a Switch Pro controller. You kind of need that Nintendo controller. So this definitely fixes the problem I have with not liking the original or not liking the remake to the original, but it just kind of completes my collection here because now I can play everything. And then obviously minus Game Boy Advance games that they have on there and Game Boy Color, you could kind of use anything as long as it has a D-pad. I prefer the Switch Lite to play those games, but you know, yeah, this pretty much completes the collection for that online shop of old games that we're able to have access to, and I'm very excited. So yeah, that is amazing. And if you like or feel like you have any other remote suggestions, please comment down below. I mean, not necessarily for the Switch Nintendo games, but more or less just in general, you know, if there's other, you know, I'm not really into the other Joy-Cons as far as like the Hori pads or other stuff like that. I like using the regular Joy-Cons or a controller, as well as just, you know, I do have a Nitro deck. This is the only controller that I will use that is literally, you know, like not part of Nintendo from anybody else. I don't really like to go for those other Joy-Cons or third parties, whatever, but this Nitro deck is amazing. Not only does it have like really good responsive remote controllers on the side, but what it does have is a charger inside. So as long as this thing is charged, your Switch will be fully charged as well. So definitely check out Cracked, CRKD. This is not a sponsor. I wish it was. And they have some really cool Nitro decks. If you never knew what a Nitro deck was, they come in tons of colors, and I believe there's like a purple one that looks exactly like the GameCube. If you grew up with that, there's also a stand on the back, so if you're into like kind of just playing with your controller, you can put a stand, and these buttons on the back, you can actually map them according to the game that you're playing. So you could do a lot with this, so I definitely recommend a Nitro deck if you don't like the Joy-Cons, if you don't like third-party Joy-Cons, and if you don't like using the controller, but you want a handheld that just has it all, especially this has a D-pad. They've come out with tons of different designs since, even translucent ones, so I would definitely check them out. And that is all for this video. It was really fun to unbox this. I'm excited to use this. Thank you for sticking around this long. Thank you for being interested, and remember that Selena might love this translucent remote and tons of other remote controllers, but she always will love Kirby.